Hello and welcome to a new video. Welcome if you're new here. Hi, I'm Andrea. Welcome back if you're one of my lovely returning friends. It's great to have you all here. What is the plan for this week and for this vlog? What is this challenge that I have set myself? You will have already seen it in the title of this video, but essentially I am giving up screens every evening this week, Monday through Friday, and I am going to be reading instead. I have been having a really bad problem lately of just zoning out watching YouTube videos in the evening, or sometimes it's Netflix or like bad reality TV on the Peacock app or something like that, but I'm just watching one thing after another and I'm being fed stuff by the algorithm and I'm not actually that invested. Like, I'm curious, but I don't need to be watching it. And I'm staying out in the living room watching TV and just playing games on my iPad way too late in the evening, and then I'm not getting to bed on time, and then I'm not sleeping well, and I'm not waking up on time, and it's a whole thing. And I need it to stop. I'm giving myself a little bit of a screen detox this week, although I hate using that word and that phrasing, but that's what the kids are calling it these days. So that's what we're gonna do. I just want to spend every evening kind of from 5 p.m. onwards, when I am done with teaching work for the day and done with writing for the day. I just want to be able to close all the laptops, shut down all the iPads, and just read. My TV is on. I don't know if you'll be able to see. You can see it glowing slightly. My TV's on, but it's set on the backdrop feature on my Roku, so it's just flashing up photography and artwork. I have several books that I really wanted to finish in October. If I don't finish them all by the end of this week, that's fine. It's not about reading as many books as possible. I could spend the whole week reading just one book and I would be fine. It's more about wanting to spend this time in the evening just relaxing with good music and reading a good book and just really relaxing on the couch or reading in bed later in the evening, and making sure that I'm getting ready for bed and turning out my lights and going to sleep at a good time, and that I'm not consuming certain types of entertainment. I'm not seeing certain videos or like themes or content too close to bed, you know, nothing that's going to get me irritated or aggravated or upset or give me nightmares or anything like that. Not that I tend to watch that in general. I have been ending up watching some stuff that just kind of stress me out, and they put me in a weird headspace, and then I'm in that headspace right before I go to sleep, and that is not what we want. So yeah, I'm gonna spend the evenings this week reading instead of anything else. The only exception to the no screen rule will be I do have 2 ebooks that I would like to have on my reading list. I'll probably save those though for more towards the end of the week and give myself at least these first few nights completely no screens entirely. I have never done this. I've never really needed to. I'm usually pretty good at regulating my screen time and social media use, but I'm starting to notice that while I have no problem putting my phone down and not scrolling on Instagram or Facebook or something at night, YouTube is kind of my replacement for that. YouTube is what I'm noticing that I'm spending 3 or 4 or 5 hours some evenings watching stuff that I don't need to be staying up that late watching. I can add them to my watch later list. I can watch them another time or just not watch them at all. I'm tired. I'm definitely feeling burned out. We're getting to that point in the semester where I'm just exhausted, and I know I'm not sleeping as well, and I do think my TV time habit in the evening, particularly when I'm double screening, watching something on the TV and playing games on my iPad, it's too much. I'm just gonna give myself a week. It's not gonna be a recurring thing, but I'm hoping what this can do is kind of reset my system so that I can get into a habit of watching TV in the evening from like 5 to 7:30, and then from 7:30 to 9 getting ready for bed, getting in bed, and reading for the rest of the evening until I go to sleep. I feel like that would be a much more balanced routine, because I used to have the routine of stopping TV at a certain time and then reading in bed, and I fell out of that routine. So I need a hard reset to get back into that routine, And in the meantime, we're just gonna read a bunch of really good books. I will reveal the reading list as we go along. Yeah, I'm gonna go get cozy on the couch and get back to reading Weyward. This is what I'm gonna start the week with, and I'm about halfway through, and I'd really like to finish it tonight. I just don't know if I'm gonna read that fast. So let's see. Okay, it is Tuesday evening. I am home from work. And it's only day 2 of this whole no YouTube, no doom scrolling, no streaming, no passively consuming mindless entertainment. It's only night 2 of that. The beginning of night 2, and I'm already regretting this. I want nothing more right now than to just crash on the couch and zone out. I am so tired, but I feel like this is also a case where like it's probably a good thing that I'm doing this and that I'm gonna make myself read and not just passively and mindlessly consume content tonight. I feel like it's nights like these that I choose just the trashiest of reality TV shows and the most mindless of entertainment. It doesn't really put me into a good mood by the end of the night, so it's probably a good thing. But yeah, I am so tired. But reading update. Last night I finished Weyward. This is definitely top 5. It might even be top 3 of this whole year so far. It might even be number 2. I think Babel is still in that top spot, but this might be number 2. It's up there with Babel for me. In terms of my emotional response, not so much, like the themes and stuff are different, but in terms of how I relate and like how the themes resonate with me, I love this book so much. I'm so glad I bought it, because if I borrowed it from the library, I would be like, oh, now I need to get a copy. This is one I might reread every few years. I feel like there's more that I'll probably pick up on other readings. I don't know how to talk about this without giving spoilers, and I feel like you really don't want spoilers. It's about women. It's about the strength and resilience of women and the bonds of women throughout family generations, like women who don't even know each other, who never met, but they're connected through that family line. And that's something that I find really fascinating and intriguing. And like, I have female ancestors who I never got to meet, but who I'll learn something about them, and it makes me feel connected to them in a way. If you've been considering it, it's really good. It does deal with difficult themes. It does deal with domestic violence and other violence against women. Nothing is lingered on for pages. Events that happen are either briefly referenced in a flashback, or they are very briefly kind of described in like just 2 or 3 sentences of this happened, and then it's moving on to kind of the aftermath. So it's more about the emotional ramifications and fallout of these sorts of traumatic experiences, rather than forcing the reader to live through the trauma alongside the character, if that makes sense. I did not find it particularly disturbing, but for someone who has had direct experience with some of the traumatic events that the characters go through, it might be more disturbing. Overall, I think what is discussed in here is really important, and the way that it's written was very thoughtfully and sensitively done. It is important to the story and to the characters and the choices they make as a result of the events of their lives, if that makes sense. So yeah, it is dark. You know, that was the thing that I'd heard about it. It does have those moments, but ultimately, and this is what the woman in the bookstore who overheard my conversation with Jess and started talking to us about the book, she said that it's ultimately about the strength and power and resilience of women, and the power of women specifically. Power is like the power that we all have inside us. That's kind of what the magic is kind of an allusion to, and that's the overarching theme of the book. And so if you're looking for just a good witchy book with like a very strong kind of feminist lean, this is the one for you. So made my feminist heart very, very happy. And then after I finished that, I did start the Crucible, and I'm enjoying it. We'll see how well I can focus on it tonight because I'm so tired. I think I would normally be able to finish this in one night, in one sitting, because obviously it's a play, so it's meant to be performed in, I don't think the production of it goes longer than 3 hours. I think it's like probably 2 or 2.5 hours. So I could read it in even less because I can read faster than actors can perform on stage. So it theoretically shouldn't take me that long. That being said, my brain is tired. But the last bit of the sun is going down. I need to get my dinner heated up. I've got leftovers from last night. Just get comfortable on the couch and see how much I can read tonight. Okay, it's Wednesday night, 5:23. I'm cooking dinner. I'm just finishing up writing for the day. You'll see that in either the previous vlog or the next vlog. I don't know what order these are going up in, but yeah, it's been a good writing session. That's the topic of another vlog. Reading is going well. So last night I finished the Crucible. This sucked me in. Oh my gosh. If you've not read this, you must read it. It is so good. I will say, if you've never read a play, reading a play is different than reading a book. I think what helps me with this one in particular is that I have seen it performed live. And so I already have a sense of the emotions and things that you normally get revealed in additional context in a book, if that makes sense. In a play, you just have the lines of dialogue. But oh my gosh, it's so good. This just feels like, it feels timeless in a way that it shouldn't. Like, this shouldn't still resonate today. It really should not. But oh my gosh, it does. I almost feel like it's even more relevant now than it was in 1953 when it was written. So if you're not familiar, it's set in 1692, and it's set around the time of the Salem witch trials. It's about the Salem witch trials, which I now really want to look up, like a history book about the Salem witch trials. I've seen documentaries and stuff, but I just feel like I want to dive deeper than like an hour documentary on PBS or the BBC or something gets into, because I want to know more about the different people. So everyone in here is like a real historical figure from that time and from those events. Arthur Miller was writing this in 1953, and it was a commentary on kind of the Red Scare and McCarthyism and the fear of communism in the US, and about the blacklists in the entertainment industry and the way that people were being accused of being a communist, and then as part of the hearing would then, to try to get themselves a lesser punishment, would name names against other people who they would claim were a communist. And that's exactly what was happening in Salem. Women, not only women, but mostly women, were called into court and being questioned, and if they confessed and repented and named who else was dealing with the devil and practicing witchcraft, then they wouldn't be executed. And so ultimately what the Crucible is about, it's about those witch trials, both literal witch trials in terms of Salem, but metaphorical witch trials, or less literal witch trials in terms of McCarthyism. But it's also about the truth and about owning the truth, and not, like, I don't want to say too much, but like that's the journey that the main character, one of the main characters, John Proctor, goes on, is can he save everybody but still tell the truth and still maintain his truth? And it's such a good play. If you can ever see it performed live, I would highly recommend it. I just feel like I understand these characters differently as I get older, and I feel like we would probably cast someone like Abigail. I feel like Arthur Miller is definitely casting Abigail as the villain, but when you understand like the historical context and when you understand women's roles, you don't agree with Abigail. Abigail is still the villain in terms of her actions, but she becomes a more sympathetic villain when you realize that in a way she's also a victim of society. I feel like the production that I saw, you kind of, like, it's not in the script. In the script, Abigail is the villain. That's how I would read it. But I saw a production of it in 2014 in London with Richard Armitage as John Proctor and Anna Madley as Elizabeth Proctor. She was brilliant. And I can't remember the actress who played Abigail. A wonderful young actress who really did an amazing job. And I feel like in that one you got a better sense of, in that production, you got a better sense of the power dynamics that were at play. But like the more I'm researching witch trials in general, the more like it's shifting how I'm reading this play. Anyway, I'll stop, but it was so good, so good. Highly recommend it. I feel like it's a very timeless play. It's very important, and it's one of those things that we really do just keep repeating history until we finally learn from it, and I think this play is a really good example of that. Then after finishing that, it was about 7:30, so I still had time, so I started reading Rewitched by Lucy Jane Wood. I only got a couple chapters in. Yeah, I'm up to chapter 3. By 7:30 I was starting to read pretty slowly, and I was getting tired, and so at 8 I just admitted defeat and I got up and got ready for bed and went to sleep by 8:30. But yeah, I need to get my green beans going, so we're gonna move over here before the timer goes off again. So yeah, I'm gonna continue reading Rewitched tonight. I am looking forward to that. It's really cute so far. Opinion from the first 2 chapters, really good. It's definitely cute. I'm very intrigued. I want to know where it's going. So I'm hoping I can get most of the way through it tonight, if not all of the way through it tonight, because I've got other books I want to read. I really do want to get to the Kindle book that I have, The Boston Witches, I believe that's the title. And also, I really would love to read Frankenstein this week. I think that'd be a really fun one to read on Halloween, on Friday. So if I could finish this today, then I could read The Boston Witches tomorrow, and then hopefully read Frankenstein on Friday. And then I still want to finish A Discovery of Witches, but if I don't do that until the weekend, that would be fine. As far as how I'm doing not watching TV in the evening, I feel a little less like needy for that tonight, I think because I was watching YouTube this morning while I was having breakfast, and I've had stuff playing on my personal laptop while I've been working today. So like I feel like I've gotten my fill of other media. So tonight I'm actually looking forward to just sitting on the couch and reading all night. I think tomorrow is going to feel more like yesterday, where I just like want to do nothing. So I do think if I can be reading a Kindle book tomorrow, that will be even easier. That's my one exception to the no screens rule for this week. It's been interesting. I didn't think I was honestly taken by surprise yesterday. Like, I adjusted. I got into reading the play and it was good, and I wasn't like feeling like I needed to just do nothing. I was happy to just read. But I was still taken a bit by surprise at how much I just was resisting that in the beginning, like just how desperately it felt like, oh, I just want to watch TV and play games on my iPad and zone out. But tonight I'm looking forward to reading. I'm really hoping that I'll just get sucked into this book. I'm gonna finish getting dinner ready and then get settled on the couch and have a very cozy, witchy night. Okay, it's Thursday night. I am home from campus. It was a good day. It was a really good day. Yeah, I'm tired. I'm very tired. I don't know. I feel better about just a quiet night reading tonight than I did on Tuesday night. Last night, I finished Rewitched. This was so cute. It's just adorable. It's light, it's funny in places, it's heartwarming, it's very cozy. It's a very cozy read. So I'd say if you're looking for just a really fun, light-hearted, heartwarming, cozy book for autumn, this is the one. I love the main character, Belle. Belladonna Blackthorn, who goes by Belle in the book. Yeah, it was really cute. I really enjoyed it. Glad I finally read it after having it on my stack for over a year now, I think. Definitely want to read her second book, Uncharmed, because I really like her writing. I would like to read the second book, and because I think it's in the same world, but it's different characters, I believe. And she just announced that there will be a third book coming next year. So I do need to get caught up on the second book before the third book comes out. So yeah, really enjoyed that. Stayed up a little late reading that one. I think I finished it right around 9 o'clock. So it's about 9:30 by the time I got in bed, which was later than I wanted to be up, but I was so close to finishing it and I just wanted to finish it. But yeah, finished that one. So tonight I'm starting a new book. So tonight we're switching to my Kindle. The one exception to the no screens this evening. I've been messing up the title throughout this whole video. I kept calling it The Boston Witch or The Witches of Boston. It's The First Witch of Boston is the title of the book, and this is by Andrea Catalano. I've pulled up the About section. It's a gripping and intimate novel based on the true story of Margaret Jones, the first woman to be found guilty of witchcraft in 17th century Massachusetts. It just sounded really interesting, inspired by actual diary entries and court records. The First Witch of Boston is at once the riveting story of a woman unjustly accused and a love story set amid political and social turmoil of both old and new England. Harrowing and with a deep understanding of the human heart, history is brilliantly imagined. It just sounded really good. Although she's the first woman to be found guilty, I have a feeling this doesn't end well. I've been wanting to read this, so I like it's in the vein of a lot of the research I've been doing for Project Darkness. It just sounded really good. We'll see how long it takes. I do tend to read faster on my iPad, like on the Kindle app on my iPad. Maybe I'll finish it. How long is it? 337 pages. I need to go take a shower and get dinner and sit down, and we will see if I can finish this book tonight. Okay, it's Friday. It is finally the end of the week and I am done working and writing. Reading update. So 2 things. 1, I stayed up way too late last night. And I really shouldn't do the same tonight, but I might. 2, I finished The First Witch of Boston, and it was really good. I knew that I was watching the time remaining on my Kindle, the Kindle app, telling me how much longer the book was going to take, and it was staying pretty consistent as I was reading the book. And so by the time it got to be 8:30, which is normally the latest I would stay out on the couch relaxing, although this is part of why we've been doing this, is because sometimes I'm watching YouTube and I just watch one more video and next thing I know it's 9:30 and I'm still not asleep. I stayed up until 10 reading, but in my defense, I knew I didn't have to wake up super early this morning, and if I'm gonna stay up till 10, I'd rather it be because I'm reading and finishing a book than because I'm doom scrolling on YouTube and on my phone and endlessly playing games on my iPad. So it's still a win as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, I knew that if I just stayed up, I would finish the book by 10, and then I could finish the book last night and I could start Frankenstein tonight. So that's the plan. The First Witch of Boston was really good. I feel like it had a lot of similarities in terms of the vibe and also in terms of the language to the Crucible. It was really, really interesting. It's not set in Salem, but it is set in Massachusetts. It was really interesting because there's obviously a lot that's speculated and a lot that's just outright fiction, that's just completely fabricated because we have no idea. There's no historic record. But she doesn't, the author, Andrea Catalano, she does include some quotes from some journal entries from the time. So there is some archival records about this woman, most of it coming from men at the time who were part of the trial. So it was interesting to see those included. So there is a lot of research that clearly went into this, but then there's a lot that's just completely fictionalized because we have no idea. It wasn't as sad as I was prepared for it to be. The author really could have gone much harder on the emotional impact. Instead, I feel like the main emotion you kind of feel is anger, but that felt appropriate. I wouldn't have wanted to get sucked into sadness and having this really high emotional reaction, because I feel like anger is the appropriate reaction you should have when reading a story like this. Fair warning, there are some difficult themes. There are some scenes that might be difficult for some readers. I would say it's similar level to Weyward, maybe 1/2 level up from Weyward. Those moments aren't lingered on. They are important to the backstory of the character. I don't feel like they're put in there purely for shock value. The author's note at the end was great. There was a nice long author's note, which I always love. But one of the things that the author talked about is that while we tend to think of New England during this time as being full of really devout, pious, very conservative religious people, they knew that they could not build their ideal world without also having masons and carpenters and blacksmiths and things like that. And so people were allowed into the community who did not necessarily adhere to the same strict beliefs. And that's part of the tension between the two main characters, the husband and wife, and the rest of the community, and part of what gets her in trouble. I don't want to say much more than that because I don't want to spoil anything. I do feel like while rage isn't really the key driving emotion of this book, I do like that kind of indignant anger is the primary thing that you feel as you're reading it. That, I don't know, I just felt like there's still so many parallels to the world we're living in today, and I feel like I always have to caveat this and put the disclaimer. You know, things have definitely improved for women over the centuries, but there's still a long way to go. Books like this just really kind of drive that home, and it's the same thing with Weyward, and it's the same thing with reading The Crucible. And I think while reading fun, lighthearted, witchy fiction like Rewitched is great, and I love those kinds of books. I love cozy fantasy where being a witch is like this magical thing. It's also really important to, for me at least, to read books like Weyward, like The First Witch of Boston, that shows how gendered depictions of witches have been in society over the centuries, and the fear, the discrimination, the superstition, the condemnation of someone just for being different. And the fact that so many of the women who were accused of being witches, it was because they were different, and witchcraft just became a convenient excuse. You know, it's because they were good with herbs, or they were good at delivering babies. Maybe they were gaining too much respect among their community for their skill and their knowledge as healers, but all of this during a time when women weren't supposed to have knowledge, because knowledge is power, and women weren't supposed to have power. So yeah, I loved it. I really did. So definitely check that out. A few of you mentioned that you'd read Weyward and liked Weyward. For those of you who liked Weyward, read The First Witch of Boston, because I feel like they're slightly similar vibes and really, really good. So tonight, it's Halloween. It's Halloween night. I don't get trick-or-treaters here, so I'm just gonna get cozy on the couch. I'm gonna heat up dinner, and I have got Mary Shelley's Frankenstein queued up on my iPad through the Libby app. So that's what I'm gonna dive into tonight, and we'll see if I can finish it. If I can finish it tonight before 8 o'clock, then I will switch back to A Discovery of Witches, which is the last book on my like reading stack that I had wanted to finish, and I'm like 2/3 of the way done with that. So if I could finish the rest of that tonight as well, that would be amazing, but I'm not going to stay up till 10 to do that. So I'm going to put myself on a hard stop of like 8:30. And with that being said, that gives me less than 3 hours, so I need to get reading. Okay, I finished Frankenstein. It was really good. I bet a lot of you have already read it. I feel like I am very late to the party where that book is concerned. But I also don't know that I would have appreciated it as much if I'd read it when I was younger. I feel like some people probably read it in high school, and it was never assigned to me in any of the English classes I took in high school. I don't know, it's one of those that I've just always had in the back of my head is like, you should probably read that one day. But yeah, it was really good. I enjoyed it. It's definitely one that I feel like I probably need to read a few times. I think I would need to read it a few times for like the language to really settle in. I feel like this time I was focusing mostly on the story more than the storytelling, if that makes sense. Really enjoyed it. I mean, it's a tough story. It is a tough story, but it's also very, very interesting. And I feel like similar to a lot of the books that I've been reading, it's kind of about power and who is allowed to have power and what kind of power are we really allowed to have? What kind of power is good for us to have? So different perspective on power in Frankenstein compared to the other books, but still, like, I feel like that's been one of the threads running through pretty much all of the books I've read this week is power. So that's interesting. Didn't really intend for that, but yeah, I think it's just telling that that's what a lot of fantasy is kind of ultimately about. Our quest for power, our quest for knowledge, wanting to restore power to people who have had power withheld from them, wanting to take power from people who don't deserve it. I think most fantasy novels are in one way or another about that. So yeah, it's been a very cozy evening, despite the very gothic and spooky story I've been reading. But yeah, I am ready to go to bed now. It's just about 8:30, so as tempting as it would be to stay up and finish A Discovery of Witches, I am just going to finish that tomorrow and Sunday probably. I might let myself read one chapter before I go to sleep tonight, but I really want to have lights out no later than 9 because I would like to go hiking in the morning. It's been an interesting week. I really have to say that. It has been a very interesting week. I am glad I did this. It has been fun reading so much. I mean, I don't want to say I feel like I'm out of my reading slump because I feel like it'd be very easy for me to just fall back into a habit of not reading regularly, but I'm really going to try not to. I don't know. I think some nights, like on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, when I do have more time in the morning and when I am sometimes watching YouTube while I'm working and like doing teaching work and stuff throughout the day, I feel like an evening of no screens at all feels a little bit more feasible, whereas I did honestly miss it on Tuesday and Thursday. I just feel like on a teaching day, I come home and my brain is so tired that I do kind of just want to zone out and just mindlessly consume YouTube videos. But I do think what this has made me realize is that I do really enjoy quiet time at night to just read. And so what I'm thinking of, and not like as a hard and fast rule, but just most nights, I think it would be nice to turn the TV off at like 7 o'clock and read from 7 to 8, 8:30, and then get ready for bed. I feel like that would be the ideal routine because for a while I was really consistent with that, where I was turning off the TV by like 8 o'clock and I was reading from 8 to 8:30, or getting ready for bed and then reading in bed from whenever I was done brushing my teeth and stuff until 9 o'clock. I did that for quite a few months and then I just fell out of that routine, and I need to get back into that routine because I've got a lot of books I still want to read this year. And the year is rapidly coming to a close. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you're not subscribed. I'd really appreciate both of those things. Leave me some book emojis to let me know which one of you lovely people have made it all the way to the end of this video. So you can leave book emojis in the comments. And then question, have you read any of the books that I read in this vlog, or the play, The Crucible? Thoughts on any of those books? Would love to hear your takes on any of these books that I've read. What is your favorite Halloween spooky season read, if you have one? And let me know what is the thing that you tend to waste time on the most in the evening? What would be the thing that you would need to kind of take a break from for a week and focus just on reading, the way that I have had to put TV and doom scrolling on YouTube on hold for a week? So like, what is your guilty pleasure doom scrolling technology or platform of choice? Let me know in the comments. I know I'm not the only one. So this is your encouragement to just take a week break, or even just a one night break. Honestly, that would be fine too. A week was a bit challenging, I won't lie, but the fact that I did it and the fact that I was able to do it tells me that like I can definitely cut back on how much TV I watch at night, and that will be okay. So yeah, let's just chat anything from this vlog in the comments. I will see you all down there. In the description box are links to all of my things, newsletter, Patreon, and all of my books. If you are so inclined to check those out, please and thank you. And yeah, I will chat with you all down in the comments, and I will see you all very soon in the next vlog. Thank you very much for watching this one. Bye!